Aliens called for help. They didn't expect humans to arrive. The enemy they had once feared had grown stronger, pushing them back from one system to another. Supplies were low, and morale was almost gone. Elder Senna, one of the leaders of the coalition, stood on the observation deck of her command ship, staring at the stars. She could feel the weight of her people's fear pressing down on her. Their worlds might fall, and no one would remember their names. "We cannot hold much longer," said Guard Captain Irek, his voice heavy. He was one of the few remaining officers she trusted. "Our fleets are scattered, our defenses fail. If we do not act soon, nothing will remain." Senna turned to him, her eyes tired but determined. "I know," she said softly, "but what can we do? All our allies have fallen, no one comes to help us, we are alone." Irek shook his head. "Alone, yes, but perhaps not without hope. We can send a signal, one last message into the void, maybe someone will hear." Senna considered this. Sending a call for help was dangerous. They did not know who might answer. The universe was vast, full of species that might not care or might even use their weakness against them. But she also knew that waiting for the end would only bring death faster. "Do it," she said finally. "Send the signal. Let it go as far as it can. We have nothing more to lose." The aliens began preparing. Massive transmitters were repaired, and navigation data was set to cast the signal across systems far beyond their reach. It was not a call to any particular species. They did not know who could help, but a message of warning and need. It was their last hope. On Earth, thousands of light years away, the signal traveled silently through the void. In a small deep space listening station orbiting Mars, signals technician Jack Williams noticed something unusual. The station picked up signals constantly, but this one was strange. It was patterned, but not like anything humans had recorded before. "Commander, you should see this," Jack said, his finger pointing at the screen. "It is not noise, it is structure. It looks like a call for help." Commander John Carter, a tall man with calm eyes and short brown hair, leaned over the console. "Help from where?" he asked. His voice was steady, but inside he felt a spark of curiosity and concern. "We do not know," Jack replied. "I have checked all known civilizations. This does not match anything in the database. It might be coming from deep space beyond our mapped sectors." Science officer Lisa Brown joined them, her tablet showing calculations and maps. "If the signal is what Jack thinks, it traveled for months before reaching us. The origin is far away, maybe hundreds of light years. The species sending this, they could be dying. They could be facing extinction." John Carter's mind raced. Humans had always been careful with contact. The Galactic Council warned about responding to unknown signals. Many signals were traps or tests, but this one felt different. There was desperation in it, real fear. He could see it in the data and the structure of the signal itself. "We should inform the Council," Lisa said. "They will decide if we respond." John shook his head. "Waiting could be too late. If they are dying now, we must act. We have ships ready. We can send a small fleet and gather more information on the way." Jack looked at him, surprised. "You really want to send humans into the unknown without knowing what's out there?" "We do not always have the luxury of knowing," John said. "Sometimes helping is the right choice even if it is dangerous. If we wait, they may die. We can't ignore that." After long debates, the Council gave permission. A small fleet was prepared, led by John Carter. Ships were armed but also equipped for rescue and repair. Scientists and engineers joined the crew, ready to face unknown technology. Among them were pilot Ethan Cole, known for daring maneuvers, and engineer Maya Hill, who could repair almost anything in space. Medic Sarah Long was included, trained for both human and alien physiology. As the fleet left Earth orbit, families watched from observation decks, waving silently. No one knew if the humans would return. John felt the weight of responsibility heavy on his shoulders. He thought of the aliens who might be waiting, afraid and alone. He thought of the humans aboard his ships, trusting him to make the right decisions. He whispered to himself, "We will not fail, not if we can help them." Months passed as the fleet traveled faster than humans had ever gone before. The stars seemed strange and unfamiliar, and every jump through space brought them closer to the unknown. Crews worked tirelessly, monitoring the signal and preparing for what might await them. "We are entering the sector," Jack said one morning, his voice tense. "This is where the signal originates. Sensors show faint ships, but they are heavily damaged, and there is a planet with burning cities. They are under attack or they have been attacked recently." The fleet slowed as they approached. The alien ships were unlike anything humans had built. Angular and tall, with glowing surfaces that seemed to change color depending on the angle of light. The humans did not understand their technology, but they could see the damage clearly. It was worse than anything they had imagined. "We are not too late," John said quietly. "Let's make contact carefully. No weapons unless we are attacked. We are here to help." He sent a signal first, simple and calm, in hopes the aliens could understand. Words were replaced with symbols, then with tones. It was not perfect, but it was enough to show intent. After tense minutes, a response came. On the alien command ship, Elder Senna and Guard Captain Irek received the strange communication. They did not recognize the species, but the symbols were not threatening. Someone somehow had answered their call. "What is this?" Irek asked, confused. "We called for help, but no one should answer. No one ever comes. We are finished." Senna's eyes widened. "They came. Somehow they came. They are helping us." On the human ships, John received confirmation that alien leaders had understood the message. "They are watching us," Lisa said. "They are surprised and cautious, but alive. That is the first step." As human shuttles moved closer to the damaged alien cities, Ethan Cole flew in carefully, maneuvering through debris. He saw aliens hiding, watching, unsure of what to do. He landed his shuttle and stepped out, waving his hands. Alien eyes followed him, wide and fearful. "I am here to help," Ethan said slowly, hoping they could understand him. "We are humans. We want to save your people." One alien, a young officer, stepped forward. His hands shook and his skin glowed faintly in panic. You came? Why? We are weak." "You should not risk yourselves." "We are not afraid," Ethan said. "We do not leave when someone calls for help. We fight with you. We help you. That is what humans do." Senna and Irek watched from their bridge as human shuttles moved into position, ready to protect cities and evacuate civilians. Hope, something they had not felt for many cycles, began to grow in their hearts. Humans were not supposed to arrive. They were small and fragile compared to the enemy that had attacked them, yet here they were, answering a call no one else had. "Perhaps we are not alone," Senna whispered, almost to herself. "Perhaps help can come when we do not expect it." The humans worked quickly, assessing damage and planning rescue operations. Engineers like Maya Hill repaired alien ships enough to move them, while medics like Sarah Long treated the wounded. Soldiers and pilots organized defenses, using techniques the aliens had never seen. For the first time, the alien coalition felt a surge of hope, and with it courage. The enemy would return. They always did. But now the aliens were not facing it alone, and the humans had arrived, answering a call no one believed would ever be answered. For the first time in many cycles, Elder Senna allowed herself to smile. The universe was dangerous, but perhaps, with humans, it could be survived. The alien coalition watched in disbelief as more human ships arrived. The first few had already helped evacuate civilians from the burning cities, but now entire squadrons were jumping in from different directions. Elder Senna and Guard Captain Irek could not understand it. Their people had thought humans weak, a minor species with small fleets and little experience beyond their own system, and yet here they were, bold, organized, and willing to risk everything. "Why are they coming?" Irek asked, his voice tense. "This makes no sense." "They do not know our enemies. They do not know our systems. Why risk themselves?" Senna shook her head. "Perhaps they are different. Perhaps they are not afraid. Humans are strange. We have studied the stars for cycles and never expected anyone to arrive when we called." And now they have. On the human command ship, Commander John Carter studied the alien fleet through his monitors. The aliens were watching every move, cautious but curious. John knew they had to earn their trust. Any misstep could make the aliens panic or withdraw. He spoke to his team, calm and decisive. "We are here to help, not take control," he said. "We need to show them that we are not a threat. They may fear our ships, our weapons, our strength, but they need to see we only came because they asked for it." Science Officer Lisa Brown nodded. "We have our work cut out for us. They may not trust anyone. Their fleets are scattered. We will need to be patient, careful, and ready to defend them if necessary." Human shuttles moved closer to the alien ships. Pilot Ethan Cole led one of the groups, weaving through debris and damaged vessels. He landed near a small alien transport, and his team stepped out slowly. Alien guards emerged, their glowing eyes wide with caution. "We mean no harm," Ethan said, raising his hands to show peace. "We are humans. We heard your call for help. We want to protect your people, not fight you." The alien officer in command hesitated. His voice came through a translator device, slow and careful. Why do you come? Our enemy is strong, we are weak, you could die. We choose to come, Ethan replied. We do not wait while someone suffers. Helping is our way. It is what humans do. If you are alive, we fight with you. If you need to move your people, we help. That is all we want. The alien officer looked at his soldiers. Their hesitation was visible, fear written on every face. No one had answered their call before. Never, and now humans had not only arrived, they had stepped forward without hesitation. This is impossible, the officer muttered. We have studied other species. None act like this, none risk themselves for strangers. Back on the command ship, Elder Senna observed the humans carefully. Their movements were deliberate but gentle. They did not fire weapons, did not issue threats. They repaired damaged alien ships with skill and speed. They rescued civilians trapped in crumbling buildings and transported them to safe zones. Slowly, she felt something she had not felt in cycles, hope. Perhaps we misjudged them, Senna said to Irek. They are not just a species that fights for themselves, they care for others. This is different, Irek frowned. Different, yes, but they are fragile. One wrong move could cost us everything. They could die if the enemy finds them first. Then we must protect them, Senna replied quietly, and learn from them. If they can act without fear, perhaps our people can too. Humans did not wait for the aliens to trust them fully. They began organizing defenses and evacuations. Engineer Maya Hill worked tirelessly, repairing alien ships that could barely move. She studied alien technology with careful attention, making small adjustments that allowed the damaged vessels to jump short distances. Humans were strange in how they adapted, using both their knowledge and instinct to solve problems quickly. Pilot Ethan Cole flew dangerous missions, intercepting enemy fighters and drawing them away from civilian zones. He dodged fire in ways the aliens had never imagined, weaving and looping at speeds that seemed impossible. The aliens could not understand why humans were not afraid of their own death, why they risked themselves so freely. Are they fearless? One alien soldier whispered to his companion, or do they not care for themselves? I do not know, the companion replied. But they act with purpose. They fight to save us, not for glory, not for power. It is strange, powerful. Medic Sarah Long treated both humans and aliens alike, moving quickly from one injured to another. She taught alien medics how to combine their techniques with human methods. Soon, alien soldiers were learning to stabilize injured civilians faster, thanks to her guidance. As humans worked, the enemy fleet appeared again on the sensors. They were larger, more organized than before, and their attacks were devastating. Alien ships tried to defend themselves, but they were weak and scattered. Humans did not wait for the aliens to falter. They formed protective formations around alien cities and transports, using shields and coordinated maneuvers that slowed the enemy's advance. We fight with you, John Carter told Senna over the communication channel. We will not leave until your people are safe. You do not fight alone. Senna felt a warmth she had not known in a long time. These humans, though strange and unknown, had chosen to risk everything for her people. They had come not for power, not for reward, but because they had been asked for help. It was a concept alien leaders had never truly understood. The first major battle came near a small industrial planet, half destroyed by previous enemy attacks. Human ships took the lead, intercepting enemy fighters and directing them away from alien transports. Ethan Cole flew directly into heavy fire, risking his life to lure enemy ships into traps. Human engineers on the command ship, like Maya Hill, guided damaged ships remotely, helping them survive attacks they would have never survived alone. Irek and his officers watched in amazement. They are not reckless, Irek said quietly. They are calculated, precise, and they do not hesitate to protect us. Never have I seen such courage, Senna nodded. It is more than courage, it is choice. They could leave, but they do not. They could ignore us, and yet they choose to be here. That is something else entirely. As the battle ended, the enemy retreated temporarily. Human losses were significant, but the alien cities remained intact, and civilians were safe. The aliens slowly began to trust them, seeing that humans were not only capable, but also loyal. They are remarkable, one alien soldier said. We called for help, but this is beyond anything we imagined. We thought we were alone, and yet, he shook his head in disbelief. And yet they came. Senna gathered her leaders. We must learn from them, she said. Observe how they act, how they fight, how they help each other. Humans are not like us. They do not fear death the same way. They fight for something beyond themselves. Perhaps this is why they survive where others fail. On the human ships, John Carter reviewed the reports. Engineers, medics, pilots, and soldiers had all performed exceptionally. He smiled quietly. "This is just the beginning," he said. "We came to answer a call. Now we must stay and ensure they survive. We cannot leave until every life is safe." As night fell over the alien planets, human shuttles continued to patrol the skies. Alien civilians watched from safe zones, whispering stories of the strange species that had come to save them. Children who had not known hope in cycles saw humans working tirelessly to protect them. Senna looked out from her ship once more. The stars seemed less lonely than before. With humans, perhaps the future could be different. Perhaps the alien coalition could survive, not because they were strong, but because someone answered when they were in need. And for the humans, this was not glory, not victory. It was simply doing what they believed was right, helping those who called for it, even when the galaxy said it was impossible. The aliens had not expected humans to arrive. They had not expected courage and selflessness. But now that humans were here, the course of the war, and the fate of entire worlds, had changed forever. The alien coalition slowly began to understand the humans. Their methods were strange and unpredictable. Humans did not fight like any species the aliens had ever known. They took risks, yes, but they were always calculated. They fought to protect, not to conquer. For the first time in many cycles, the aliens saw a species acting not out of fear, greed, or pride, but out of choice, pure, deliberate choice. Pilot Ethan Cole led a squadron into a damaged starport orbiting a small industrial planet. The starport had been partially destroyed, and enemy fighters still patrolled the skies. Alien ships hesitated to enter, unsure of what humans might do. Ethan's movements were swift and daring. He looped around the enemy fleet, drawing them away from the station. He attacked when necessary, but only to protect civilians and the remaining alien forces. "They are reckless," an alien officer shouted from a nearby cruiser. "They could die at any moment." "They are not reckless," Senna replied calmly. "Watch carefully. Every movement has a purpose. Every risk is calculated. They fight to protect, not for themselves. This is why they survive." Engineer Maya Hill worked aboard the human command ship. She monitored alien systems, repairing damaged ships remotely. Her hands flew across the control panel, adjusting power levels, rerouting energy, and stabilizing engines. Alien engineers crowded around her, studying her work with awe. "How does she do that?" one alien engineer whispered. "Our systems are old. They would fail under this pressure, yet she keeps them moving even under attack." "Humans adapt quickly," another engineer replied. "They do not panic. They see a problem and solve it no matter the danger. It is remarkable." Medic Sarah long moved from one injured alien to another. The wounded were scared at first, unsure if humans could help them, but her calm voice and careful hands reassured them. She treated burns, fractures, and trauma with skill that surprised even the most experienced alien medics. "We have never seen such care," an alien nurse said quietly. "They treat us like equals, not inferior creatures. Even when we are strange to them, they do not hesitate to help." As humans worked, the enemy attacked again. This time, they targeted both humans and aliens. Their fleet was larger, more coordinated, and more dangerous. Alien ships tried to form defensive lines, but they were too weak. Humans stepped forward immediately. John Carter coordinated the defense from the command ship. "Protect the civilians first," he ordered. "Draw enemy fire away from the cities, cover the transports. We do not leave anyone behind." Ethan Cole led a strike team into the heart of the battle. He dodged energy blasts, weaving between enemy ships, and struck where it would hurt the enemy most. Alien officers watched in disbelief as humans used tactics they had never considered. They surrounded enemy ships, creating traps, cutting off retreat routes, and rescuing disabled vessels in the middle of combat. "They are genius," one alien officer muttered. "We never thought like that. We always wait for the enemy to act first." Humans act before the enemy can even think. On the ground, alien cities that had been partially destroyed were being stabilized by human engineers. Buildings that should have collapsed were held up by temporary supports, and civilians were moved quickly to safer zones. Human soldiers carried supplies, weapons, and medical kits. They shared their techniques with alien soldiers, teaching them to act faster and smarter. Senna watched from the bridge. "They do not fear death in the same way we do," she said quietly to Irek. "They know it is possible, but they choose to stand anyway, and because of that, they change everything." Irek nodded. "They are inspiring our people. Soldiers who would have fled are now standing their ground. Civilians who were hopeless are now helping with evacuation and repairs. Humans, they teach not just by words, but by example." The battle reached its peak near a small moon, where an alien refugee camp had been set up. Enemy fighters attacked with full force, trying to destroy everything. Ethan Cole and his team flew directly into the storm, drawing enemy fire and protecting the transports. They used maneuvers that seemed impossible, banking and twisting at high speeds, confusing the enemy. Alien pilots followed their lead, learning the new tactics in real time. Maya Hill worked tirelessly, stabilizing engines that should have failed. Ships that were moments from destruction were able to jump to safety thanks to her quick thinking. Aliens had never seen repairs done so fast, under such pressure, without panic or hesitation. Sarah Long moved among the injured, calming cries of fear and pain. Alien medics began to imitate her methods, combining their own techniques with hers. Soon, injured aliens were being treated faster and more efficiently than ever before. The enemy finally retreated, damaged and frustrated. Alien ships were battered but functional. Alien civilians were safe. Humans had not only protected them, but had taught them to survive under conditions they had never managed before. "We owe them everything," one alien officer said, his voice filled with awe. "They could have ignored our call, and yet they stayed. They fought with us, taught us, and saved lives. How can we ever repay them?" Senna smiled softly. "We may not need to repay them," she said. "They did not come for reward, they came because it was right, and that is a lesson far greater than any gift or tribute." Back on the human command ship, John Carter reviewed the reports. "We have shown them we will not leave until they are safe," he said to Lisa Brown. "That is the most important message we can send. Everything else is secondary." Lisa nodded. "They are learning more than fighting from us. They are learning courage, choice, and teamwork in ways they never understood. This will change their culture, their tactics, their future. And they will remember it," John said quietly. "Long after we leave, they will remember that someone came when no one else would, that someone risked everything to help them." As night fell over the alien systems, human shuttles continued patrols. Alien soldiers practiced new maneuvers taught by humans. Civilians worked alongside humans in the camps, repairing buildings, preparing supplies, and learning to defend themselves. Slowly, hope spread through the coalition, a hope they had thought impossible. Senna and Irek stood together on the bridge of the command ship, looking at the stars. "We have called for help," Senna said softly, "and the universe answered in a way we did not expect." Irek nodded. "Humans are not just soldiers, they are teachers, healers, and friends. They fight because they choose to. That is something we must understand if we are to survive." John Carter looked at the alien fleet through his monitors. The humans had not only arrived, they had become the heart of the coalition. Without them, many worlds would have been lost. With them, hope was alive, growing stronger with every action, every rescue, and every life saved. Pilot Ethan Cole returned to the command ship after a long sortie. He was tired, his uniform scorched, but his eyes were bright. "They watched everything," he said. "They learned quickly. Aliens are smarter than I thought once they see what is possible. They can fight, but they need guidance. We give it, and they follow." Maya Hill nodded. "We have taught them tools, techniques, and strategy. But more importantly, we have shown them that someone cares. That someone will stand with them when the universe seems against them. That is the greatest lesson of all." Senna watched the humans as they moved through the alien fleet, coordinating repairs, medics, and defenses. She felt something that had been missing for a long time: relief, trust, and admiration. Humans were not invincible, and many had already been hurt, but they did not retreat. They did not panic. They simply chose to act, and their choice changed everything. "Perhaps this is the way forward," she said quietly to Irek. "Perhaps when the galaxy seems dark, help can come from unexpected places, and perhaps we must learn to act even when we are afraid, just as humans do." Irek nodded. "They are strange, yes. But they are extraordinary. The enemy will not understand them, and perhaps that is why they will survive where others fail. Humans, they are a gift to our people, whether we fully understand it or not." As the night sky glowed with distant stars, humans and aliens alike rested briefly, preparing for what would come next. The war was not over. The enemy would return. But now, for the first time in cycles, the alien coalition knew that they were not alone, and that with humans at their side, they might just survive. And humans, weary but determined, continued their work quietly. They had answered a call, not for glory or reward, but because it was right. And that simple act, small to some, was powerful beyond measure. It had changed the course of worlds, and the hearts of those who had once thought all hope was lost. The enemy did not stay away for long. After their last defeat, they returned with larger numbers and more aggressive tactics. Their ships were faster, stronger, and better coordinated. The alien coalition, though inspired by the humans, was not ready for this renewed assault. Panic rippled through the fleet as enemy fighters targeted civilian transports and key installations. "They are coming again," Irek said, his voice tense. "We cannot hold them off for long. We are too weak." Senna stood beside him, watching the stars streak with enemy fire. "We are not alone," she said quietly. "The humans are here. They will fight with us." On the human command ship, John Carter coordinated the fleet. "We hold the line," he ordered. "Protect civilians first, then the fleet. Medics and engineers stay alert. This will be dangerous, but we will not abandon anyone." Pilot Ethan Cole led a squadron into the thick of the battle. Enemy fighters swarmed around them, firing relentlessly. He dodged blasts, looping and weaving through debris, drawing fire away from alien transports. Behind him, alien pilots attempted to mimic his movements, but many faltered under pressure. "Keep going," Ethan shouted over the comms. "Stay calm, move with me, we can survive this." Engineer Maya Hill worked furiously in the repair bays, patching damaged human and alien ships. Energy conduits had blown, shields were failing, and engines were on the verge of collapse. She coordinated with alien engineers, teaching them to stabilize critical systems. "We can hold them together for a while," Maya said to a young alien engineer. "Follow my steps exactly. Don't panic, focus on one system at a time. We can save them." Medic Sarah Long moved between injured soldiers and civilians, human and alien alike. The cries of the wounded filled the ships and stations. Burns, fractures, and shock were everywhere. Alien medics tried to keep up, but the human methods were faster and more effective. Sarah instructed them calmly, showing how to triage and stabilize quickly. "Listen to me," she said. "We can save them if we work together. Stay focused. We are here to protect life, not just fight." The enemy focused their attacks on the human ships. They seemed to recognize the humans as the biggest threat. Energy blasts hit shields and hulls, tearing through defenses. Human losses were mounting. Shuttles exploded in fire, and some human pilots did not return from sorties. John Carter watched the reports with a heavy heart. He knew every human casualty was a blow, but he also knew that retreat was not an option. "We cannot leave them behind," he said. "We fight for every life, even if it costs us everything." On the alien command ship, Senna and Irek observed the battle in awe and fear. The humans were taking heavy hits, but they did not falter. They were everywhere, shielding alien transports, repairing critical systems in real time, and coordinating defenses with precision. "How do they endure this?" Irek asked. "They are losing so many, yet they fight on as if nothing can touch them." "They choose to fight," Senna replied. "It is not that they do not feel fear. They do. They are aware of the danger, but they act anyway. That is what makes them different. That is what makes them strong." In one of the most dangerous sectors, Ethan Cole led a mission to rescue a disabled alien cruiser. Enemy fighters swarmed around him, trying to destroy both ships. He communicated calmly, directing alien pilots to cover angles while he drew the enemy away. With precise maneuvers, he created an opening, allowing the cruiser to jump to safety. "We owe our lives to them," one alien officer said quietly. "Without the humans, that ship would have been destroyed. Hundreds would have died." Maya Hill continued to work in the repair bays, sweat dripping from her brow. Energy conduits sparked, alarms rang, but she remained focused. She patched ships just in time for them to jump away from explosions. Alien engineers watched and copied her techniques, learning quickly under the pressure of real combat. "We have never worked this fast," one alien engineer said, "and yet it works. They are teaching us by doing, not just talking." Medic Sarah Long's triage center was overflowing. Alien medics tried to keep up, but some injured could not wait for help. Sarah moved with incredible speed and precision, stabilizing as many as she could. Her calm voice reassured both humans and aliens, even in the chaos of battle. "Stay with me," she said to an alien soldier holding a bandage and applying it quickly. "We are not leaving anyone. You will live. We will get you through this." As the battle raged on, losses mounted. Humans had sacrificed many of their own to save alien lives. Some ships were destroyed completely, and several pilots did not return. Each loss was felt deeply, but the humans remained steadfast. John Carter called a meeting with his officers. "We cannot let despair take us," he said. "Every ship, every pilot, every medic we lose matters, but we fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. That is why we are here. We continue. No retreat, no surrender." Senna watched his words through the communication channel. She felt something unfamiliar, respect and awe. These humans were not just warriors, they were protectors willing to face death to save others. Her people had never seen this, and slowly her fear began to be replaced with hope. Irek walked through the command deck. Alien soldiers crowded the stations, trying to emulate human strategies. They were learning faster than expected. Humans had shown them how to organize defenses, how to prioritize targets, and how to rescue civilians efficiently. "They fight with us," one alien pilot whispered. "They are not here for themselves, not for glory, not for reward. They are here because we asked for help, and they choose to stay, even when it is dangerous." As the enemy fleet withdrew temporarily, both humans and aliens took a moment to assess the damage. Dozens of human ships were destroyed or heavily damaged. Many pilots were lost. Alien ships were battered, but none were completely destroyed. Civilians were safe for now. Senna approached Irek. "We owe them more than we can say," she said softly. "Without humans, many would have died today, and yet they continue to fight. They do not ask for recognition or reward. They fight because it is right." Irek nodded. "We must learn from them. Our people have never seen courage like this, not just courage, but choice. They act knowing the danger, and still they stand. That is strength beyond anything we imagined." John Carter addressed his crew over the ship-wide comm system. "Today we suffered losses, but we also saved many lives. We showed the alien coalition that someone will stand with them, even in the darkest hour. That is the meaning of our mission. We continue tomorrow and the day after until everyone is safe." Ethan Cole returned from a sortie, exhausted and injured, but alive. He looked at the alien officers. "We are here because you asked for help," he said. "We do not leave until every life is safe. That is why we fight." Maya Hill worked tirelessly in the repair bay, fixing ships that were moments from destruction. Alien engineers followed her instructions, learning faster than she could have expected. "We save as many as we can," she said. "One by one, every life matters." Medic Sarah long treated the last of the critical injuries for the night. Alien medics were now working alongside her, their hands steady and confident. "You can do this," she said. "We will get through this together." As night fell over the alien fleet, the humans rested briefly, preparing for the battles that would surely come. Alien soldiers and civilians whispered among themselves about the strange species that risked everything for them. Senna and Irek stood together on the observation deck, looking at the stars. "We called for help," Senna said quietly. And the humans answered even when the enemy was strongest. They paid a heavy cost, yet they did not leave. "That is something we have never seen before." Irek nodded. "And perhaps that is what will save our people, not strength alone, but courage, loyalty, and choice. Humans show us that. We must remember it always." And so the coalition prepared for the next attack, strengthened by the presence of humans. Though losses had been heavy, hope had grown. Humans had proven their bravery, their skill, and their commitment. The alien coalition began to see that survival was possible, not because of power, but because someone had chosen to stand with them when they were in need. The enemy would return, stronger than before. But now, humans were here, fighting alongside them. The course of the war had shifted, and the alien coalition realized that they had never truly understood the meaning of courage. Until humans showed it to them in full, even at great cost, the enemy returned at last, larger and fiercer than ever before. Their fleet stretched across the system, dark and menacing, with energy weapons blazing. The alien coalition was ready, but only because humans had trained them, organized them, and inspired them to act beyond their fear. Without the humans, many worlds would have already fallen. Commander John Carter stood on the bridge of the human command ship. His crew was exhausted, having fought for cycles without rest. Yet every human was ready, eyes focused and hearts determined. "This is it," he said quietly. "We hold the line. Every ship, every soldier, every medic matters. Protect the civilians first, then take the fight to them. We do this together." Pilot Ethan Cole prepared his squadron for the first wave. "Remember what we taught them," he said to the alien pilots beside him. "We fight as one. Cover each other, protect the transports. We do not leave anyone behind." Alien pilots nodded nervously. They had learned much from humans, maneuvers, formations, timing, but the enemy was larger and faster than anything they had faced before. Fear lingered, but they were determined. Humans had shown them courage and choice, and now it was their turn to act. The first wave of the enemy attacked the civilian zones. Human shields moved forward, absorbing the brunt of the assault while alien transports escaped. Ethan's squadron twisted and turned through heavy fire, drawing the enemy into traps laid by human and alien forces together. Energy blasts lit the dark void. Explosions scattered across ships, but the humans remained calm, coordinating every movement. "Hold your positions," John shouted over the comms. "Protect the transports, cover each other, focus fire on their leaders, we can break them." Engineer Maya Hill worked furiously, repairing damaged ships in mid-battle. Alien engineers followed her instructions, stabilizing critical systems just enough for the ships to jump to safety or return fire. Sparks flew, alarms blared, but Maya remained focused. "Keep moving," she said to an alien engineer. "One step at a time, we can do this." "We save as many as possible." Medic Sarah Long treated wounded on both human and alien ships. Casualties were heavy, but she worked tirelessly. Alien medics assisted, now confident and skilled from the lessons they had learned. "Stay with me," she said, moving from one injured alien to another. "We do not leave anyone. You will survive. We will get you through this." The enemy focused on the humans, recognizing them as the greatest threat. Ships attacked directly, trying to break their formations. Human losses were high, but their determination never wavered. Every ship that fell inspired the others to fight harder, to cover each other, and to protect the civilians. "They are fearless," an alien officer whispered. "Or perhaps they are not fearless, but they choose to stand anyway. That is why they survive." As the battle progressed, John Carter directed humans and aliens alike, coordinating attacks and defenses. The aliens began to move with confidence, following human instructions, performing maneuvers they had never thought possible. The coalition became a single, united force, stronger than the enemy had expected. Pilot Ethan Cole led a risky maneuver into the heart of the enemy formation. He drew the largest enemy ships into a trap, where alien and human fleets converged from all sides. Energy blasts collided, explosions lit the void, and the enemy flagship was finally caught in a crossfire it could not escape. "We got them," one alien pilot shouted, disbelief in his voice. "The humans, they planned this. They led us to victory." Maya Hill continued to stabilize ships, saving them just long enough to finish the battle. She patched hulls, rerouted power, and guided alien vessels through debris fields. "Keep moving," she told an alien engineer. "We can finish this. Do not stop now." Medic Sarah Long moved among the survivors, comforting the injured. "You are safe now," she said. "We fought together and we survived together. Your people are alive because we chose to stand with you." The enemy flagship finally exploded in a massive fireball. The rest of the enemy fleet, confused and leaderless, began to retreat. Human and alien forces pursued them, ensuring they could not regroup quickly. The battle was won, but the cost was high. Many human ships were destroyed, and several pilots would never return home. Senna and Irek stood on their command ship's bridge, looking at the aftermath. The coalition had survived. Cities were safe, civilians were alive, and the enemy had been driven back. They turned to each other, awe and gratitude in their eyes. "We called for help," Senna said softly. "And the humans came. They fought, they taught, they saved our people. We would have fallen without them." Irek nodded. "They risked everything for us, knowing they could die. They asked for nothing in return. We must never forget what they did." John Carter gathered his crew after the battle. "We did what we came to do," he said. "We answered a call. We fought together. Lives were saved. Some were lost, yes, but our mission was to protect, not to claim glory. Remember that. We came because it was right, and that is enough." Pilot Ethan Cole returned to the command ship, battered but alive. "We did it," he said quietly. They believed in us and we believed in them. Together we survived. That is what matters. Maya Hill looked at the fleet of repaired and saved ships. We showed them what is possible when we choose to act. We saved lives not just with strength, but with planning, courage, and teamwork. They will remember this forever. Medic Sarah Long moved among the wounded, comforting those who survived. You saw what it means to fight for others even when it is dangerous. Remember this. Let it guide you in the future. As humans prepared to return to their own systems, the aliens gathered to say farewell. Civilians, soldiers, and leaders alike stood together, grateful and respectful. Senna approached John Carter. "We owe you more than words can say," she said. "You came when we were alone, you fought when we were afraid, and you did not ask for reward. Your people are extraordinary. You have changed our lives." John smiled quietly. "We did what we could. Your people fought with us, learned, and survived. You earned this victory. We are proud to have stood with you." Irek stepped forward. "We have learned courage, loyalty, and hope from your people. Humans are not just fighters. They are teachers, healers, and friends. We will never forget this." As the humans prepared to leave, children waved, civilians cheered, and soldiers saluted. Humans did not take titles, awards, or territory. They asked only for peace and the promise that the aliens would remember the lessons of courage and choice. Senna watched as the human fleet jumped back toward their home system. "They came when no one else would," she said softly. "They fought when others might have fled, and because of them we lived to see another day." Irek nodded. "The galaxy will speak of this battle, yes, but it should not say aliens called for help. It should say humans answered, even when they did not have to. They showed us what true courage means." As the stars settled after the chaos, both humans and aliens reflected on what had happened. Humans had risked everything for strangers, changed the course of war, and taught the aliens lessons that would last for generations. Aliens had learned that strength was not only measured in ships or weapons, but in choice, loyalty, and courage. John Carter looked at the stars one last time before returning home. He thought of the alien cities, the people they had saved, and the brave pilots and medics who had fought beside him. He felt a quiet satisfaction, knowing that sometimes the right thing to do was the hardest, and that courage could be found even in the darkest moments. And so the galaxy remembered that humans answered when called, not because they were forced, not because they sought glory, but because they chose to do what was right. Their arrival had saved worlds, changed hearts, and shown the universe the meaning of true heroism. The alien coalition survived. Their worlds were repaired. Their fleets were rebuilt. And the story of humans, who came when no one else would, spread across systems like a new light, inspiring hope wherever fear had once ruled. The humans returned home, weary but proud, knowing that they had done what mattered most. They had answered the call, fought with courage, and left the galaxy a little brighter than they had found it.